Hey guys, it's Staci and Hutch, and apparently our bosses thought that we didn't talk enough.
So we're going to do a podcast.
We're going to say too much. Hopefully we don't get fired, but it's a podcast, so they can't fire us for having our own thoughts.
And we don't get paid for this, so how can you fire from something that you don't actually do for a job?
You're not getting paid?
No, are you?
Let's start the podcast. Yay! Staci's not here. I'm not cheered for that. Staci's out this week, but Elizabeth Ries has decided to come in.
Hi, guys.
Hello, friends.
Thank you for having me.
By the way, Paul Folger comes in every Wednesday and Friday with us.
I know.
Does he always say hello, friends, to you?
He does.
Okay.
Yeah. He's a wonderful person.
But once in a while, I'll hear you say it, and I'm like, who started it?
Oh, I say hello, friends a lot.
You do?
Yeah, I'm into Friends.
Do you do that on TV? Because we watch you all the time, even though we're on the air, because you're on the screen.
Yeah. Do you have me on closed caption? Can you actually
We
hear
do.
me? Okay.
I think so. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I say hello, friends a lot.
Do
I'm
you?
a lot into Friends. I think I like
You are.
everyone being a friend.
I'm sorry, that bothers me.
Thank you for being a friend.
Hello, friends. Isn't
Ross
that
is here
Jim
as well.
Nance, too?
Because
Hello, friends.
I'm the kind of person that's like, I don't mind friends, but if I have a big group, like it bothers. I don't know if that's a guy thing. Like, does your husband have a ton of friends?
He has a ton of friends. He's super
But
social.
are they friends of your friend? Like, are they the husband?
No, he
Okay.
has more buddies than I have friends. You know, my husband played hockey for a long time, and so he's just got like this crew.
Yeah.
And he's kind of a person that people want to be friends with. You know, he's not afraid to be imperfect. They like that about him.
He's a man. Wait, so is there any drama ever with your friends? Because like that's what I don't have a lot of people in my life. Like I don't
Fair.
want drama.
I don't have a lot of drama. No,
Yeah.
I have a group of friends actually that I just saw last weekend. We have 5 of us from like middle school and high school that are still super
Really?
close. Yep. Lindsay, Aaron, Mari, Tanya, me. And then we just got together last weekend. You guys, we have 14 children among us. 14 children
God.
ranging in age from, let's see, AJ's the oldest and he's 12. And then McKenna's 12 too, and then they go all the way down to the youngest is Jack, who's 15 months. We're all done now. We've all entered our 40s, and we're like, okay, we're done having children. But there were 14 children from the age of 12 down to 1, and it's just very fun. And then I have some college friends, a core group of girls. There's 4 of us.
Yeah.
One of them actually overlaps from high school and college. She's my best friend.
They're the ones that know your secrets.
They know a
'Cause it was
lot of
college
secrets.
stuff.
College, they know
Yeah.
a lot. They absolutely know. They have a lot of bad photos, you know, and then also good ones where I'm wearing tube tops and I'm 20, and it's like, hey, hot damn, get her going.
We need those photos.
They're good.
How glad are we that we didn't? By the way, I do want to say this before we get to anything. Thanks to Mattress Galaxy for sponsoring Staci and Hutch Say Too Much. But I do want to mention, like, how glad are we? Because I think we were born around the same time. What do you say?
81. Oh, yeah, I
okay.
say.
Oh, 83.
Yeah.
So how glad are we that those photos aren't social media
I'm
worthy?
so happy.
How, like, you
I'm
know,
so
like, I
happy.
think we grew up in like the best time ever.
We totally did, because we're the last generation of people who know what it's like to grow up without devices, to have to like do old school things, like go to Blockbuster and like watch things when they were actually on TV, and like you have to be home when Beverly Hills 90210 starts.
Showed up, yeah.
Da-na-na-na, da-na.
Well, your Melrose Place lady.
Yeah,
too,
you have to be there when it starts, and then but then also living a life like with technology. We're the last ones. No, I mean, even my sister, my youngest sister, is 5 years younger than me. I mean, she remembers it too, but like Facebook was around when she was in college, because it was just for college students then. It was not around for me. I didn't get Facebook until my second TV job when I was in Green Bay. And I remember it being like this big deal at the station. Like, could we get Facebook? Could we have it? Would we have a public? Would people be able to be our friend? Would it, like, what could you post on there? I see this stuff that like young people in television post on Facebook. And I was like, I would have been fired at my first job for posting. Like, if I would have posted a swimsuit photo, I would have been hauled into my news director's office. It would have been a major contract violation. It's wild.
But we're also glad, though, too, because comes with that comes with obviously people posting whatever they want behind I know you've been a victim, probably more so than you admit, to negative comments. Staci and I, like, the thing that sucks for us is that, and it's good for us, is that we have a live texting so people can text in while we're doing our show.
That's a terrible idea. Whoever thought of that should be absolutely canned.
Well, sometimes it gives us great content.
Ross, was it you?
Hutch just angrily replies to almost every one of them, too.
Oh, well, you know what Staci calls them too. She'll call them and be like, why would you say that? Like, she calls them out, but we're in a position where we can.
Yeah.
We have a little more attitude that we could do than maybe your show. Although, obviously you had, I say it's one incident, but man, I'm telling you, I couldn't imagine being a female on TV.
Oh, it's one of many. There's many.
And getting the comments that you would get. But here's the thing, is that how people deal with it, like you. How did you learn to deal with the comments? Because at first, probably when you first started getting them on TV, you're like, what the hell? Like, and you just were angry and you just wanted to write it. But now you're like, whatever.
It's definitely been an evolution because I've been in TV for a long time. I started at my first TV job when I was 21 and I'm 41. Shocking, I know. Hutch.
It is shocking. Like, I thought.
That's where you need to insert the comment of like, oh my gosh, you don't look 41 at all.
I'm not joking. I never would have guessed that.
I wouldn't have either.
Never.
I heart
In fact,
you.
I thought Steve was a lot older than you.
Yes,
And I'm
that's
sure
good to think that. Keep saying that. Say that to him. Yep. Tell
Steve looks
that.
incredibly old.
He does, Mr. Old Man.
That's because Steve lives off of Sour Patch Kids, and I eat grass-fed beef. I mean, honest to God. So, and you can tell Steve I said that. I like that. It's been an evolution. I had some really good advice at my very first job. My very first job was in Duluth, and I worked with amazing people. I made $19,000. I was so broke, but I really learned a lot. And there were two pieces of advice. One was from the main anchor at that station. His name is Pat Kelly, and he was just the wonderful, wonderful man. And I remember getting my first nastygram on email. And this was, we didn't even have internet on all the computers in my newsroom then. I mean, it was like you had to find a computer with internet.
Yeah.
It was just nuts. And so I remember getting the first one and Pat, and I was like, oh my gosh. And I went to Pat and I was like, look what someone sent me. And he said to me, you need to save that email. He goes, first, you should print it and file it because if something ever happens to you, that's the file we'll go to first to look.
That's so
to
true,
see if
by the
something
way.
happened to you. And then he goes, but also he said, you know what, Elizabeth, you can't take the bad personally, but even more important, you can't take the good personally because people are going to say what they say. It has to do with them and not to do with you. It was amazing advice and it really stuck with me. I still don't know to this day if he even remembers that conversation. He was such a good gem of a person. He probably just spouted that stuff off all the time. And then I also remember that job, that station was sold and almost everybody was let go, including me. Yeah. I got a sweet severance. I think it was $1,000. Wow. And I was like, this is the most money I've ever had in my life.
This is more than my monthly salary.
Unbelievable. I got a 2-month severance. And I remember my agent at the time saying, when that transition was happening, you are Elizabeth Ries Incorporated. You don't work for anybody else. You're contracted with companies. You go, you do the best job for you, not for anybody else. And those two things were just so amazing and pivotal. And I think I was just in a position where I was soaking up knowledge. I was really eager to learn at that point. Yeah. And those two things have been my cornerstones for my entire career, is remembering, because it helps me to not think of this job as my identity, because, I've been on Twin Cities Live for 13 years. But I don't think of it as who I am. It's what I do. It's not who I am. Those are two very separate things for me. And then it has also really helped me to sort of form that bubble around me where really understanding that what people have to say about me has to do with them. And I want them to have a positive experience in terms of their interaction with me, but I'm not responsible for how they feel about me.
Right.
At all.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys thought you were going to get so many truth bombs this
We
morning,
didn't know.
but here
I mean,
I am. I'm blowing up the building.
Well, I think this is great. I don't know about you, Hutch, but I think this is
the
great.
worst interview ever.
Yeah. But I would ask the same to you, Hutch. I think people would love to know, how do you deal with it? I generally, because I remember the same thing as you. I was working in small towns in the mid 2000s, and I would get similar. They would actually, at one time, I got hate mail in the actual mail.
Oh, yeah.
And you open it up, it's a letter.
I've gotten that too.
But I think I actually got this from my father, and it's basically, look, if they don't personally know you, you can't really care about it.
Oh, yeah. There's only certain people who get to have an opinion about you that you care about.
Correct. And constructive both ways.
Yeah.
I can handle criticism, but it has to come from the right people. If you don't know what I'm doing behind the scenes or the work that I'm putting in, and I would say this even for the positive ones, like you said, great to hear those comments, Elizabeth, but also, I don't know you.
Right.
So I don't know how much stock I can put in
The
those.
hardest part, I think, for us in this business is that, you know, it's different for like a Paul Folger or Kevin Dorn or all that stuff, because their personality they show, but they're not like we're you or Liz and I, because we talk about our families, we talk about our lives, we talk about divorce, and we talk about all that stuff. And so when people hit there, it's so much harder to take than with "you're stupid" or, you know, like like make fun of me all you want.
Yeah, like you don't know how to pronounce Matamidi.
Right.
Once Steve said Mahatmadi, and I about peed my
God,
pants
yes.
on TV. It was the greatest day of
find
my
that
life.
clip.
Yeah, it was amazing.
But when you attack me as a father,
Yeah.
you know, or you attack my divorce or a marriage or something, that hits hard.
And personal stuff, for the most part, should be off limits for all of us. To a degree.
I mean, say
to a
that,
degree.
but at the time, I'm offering it up. You know, I'm talking about my divorce. I'm offering it up. So I assume people are going to comment on it as well. It still hurts. Are there times where you go home and you cry? Are there times where you...
I probably just like let it build up and then realize that I'm not managing it well. So, I mean, I literally visualize a bubble around me. I do. And and I have a therapist and I have all the things.
I think everyone in this building
Oh
has
my
a
gosh, you have to have a
therapist.
therapist. If you don't have a therapist, like, what are you doing? I send out my therapist's name to people if you want to know. She's really great. But I'm really open about that. And I talk about that my husband and I have been to marriage counseling. I talk about me going to therapy. I talk about really prioritizing those things, because I think I've gotten a lot of messages from women in particular who say, oh my gosh, I heard you say that you go to therapy and thought if she's okay with going to it, then I'm going to too. Like, I'm not going to feel shame about it. And I don't think it's shame. I mean, I think it's straight like necessity, number one. I feel like it should be built into every insurance plan. It just as your birthright should be 6 therapy sessions a year in the United States of America. I mean, I think that's how it should be. But I visualized that bubble. I realized during the pandemic, that was when I had to go into therapy and really start to work on just like strengthening my boundaries more, because I was doing so much work from home. You know, like I was coming into the studio every day for the show, but I was doing tons of interviews from home. I was doing all my meetings from home. Like it was that hour and a half that I was in the building and then I was out.
But you're not even including the harder part of that is the kids were home.
Yeah.
Everyone was home.
Everyone was home. And I just had a baby.
Yeah.
And I lived through some pretty intense civil unrest in my neighborhood. I live in Minneapolis. And so, there was a lot happening there. And so I think really recognizing, oh, wait, like I don't feel great and I need some help managing this. That's been really helpful. But imagining that bubble, the other thing, like Brene Brown is a great resource who talks a lot about like what your dad talked about, which is that, you have certain people who get to give you criticism that you will consider. And if they're not emotionally invested in you and love you and kind of like in the arena with you, I mean, that's Brene Brown's big thing, then they don't get to have a say. Unless, I'm always like open to specific feedback. Like if it's something of like, oh, hey, you know what? Maybe you could say it this way. Or like, I remember getting feedback from somebody who said, hey, when you refer to diabetes, could you differentiate between type 2 and type 1 on the show? Because they're two very different things and different experiences. And I was like, thank you so much. Yeah. Yes, absolutely. That kind of stuff is totally different.
And then you told Chris Eggert, go back in his hole.
Yeah, then I said, you just deal with it. But I think, then you also have stuff that it's just so clearly about other people. And as a woman, it's difficult. Staci probably manages this too. I think men and women in the public eye still have a different experience, even though I think it is
100%
getting to be more similar in that, there's a lot of criticism about your appearance and your body. Weight is like a huge thing. I've been pregnant 4 times, had 3 babies on this throughout my time on the show. I mean, there's a lot of like ups and downs and all these different things. And then there's also just a lot of criticism about for women if you're too much or you're too this or you're too that. Like if Steve would get an email, Steve and I co-hosted the show for 7 years together. If he would get an email about someone disagreeing with his opinion, it would be like, I don't agree with your opinion. With me, it would be, you don't get to have an opinion. You shouldn't talk so much. You shouldn't say what you think. There's a real difference there in what you're saying. And I'm totally okay with people disagreeing with my opinion. I'm not okay with someone telling me I'm not entitled to an opinion.
Right. I don't know what it's like, but I can understand just being in the business what that may feel like. I feel like you've been through so much at your time at Twin Cities Live.
It's a journey. It's over a decade. It's like, think about any decade in your life.
And people are watching that. People have been with you 13 years or just joining you. I don't want to say this the wrong way, but you've been through a lot of men. You've had a lot of men in your life, and I'm not talking about your husband.
I actually was engaged to someone else when I started on the show.
Oh, did you?
And then we broke up, and that was like the first experience of I had like said that I was engaged on the show, and then was saying no, now I'm not
anymore.
And then I ended up getting engaged again, and then I married him, and we've been together ever since.
Your story's pretty crazy. I mean, you go with Chris Eggert, who I think I worked with him in Orlando.
I love Chris.
And then I worked with Kelly in Sioux Falls.
That's so fun.
It's the craziest thing. You all come together somehow.
I know.
But this
John Hansen before that.
John Hansen before that. Yeah, John Hansen.
John
Chris
was
Eggert.
on for 5 years. Chris was 9 months. It was like a hot second. And then Steve for 7 years.
Yes.
And then now Ben Lieber.
It's crazy because each one of those people are so different. And the show is known for, not necessarily like when you were looking for someone to fill in for after Chris.
Yeah.
It's not like you were like, okay, we need someone like Chris. You had your doors open, your mind's open.
Yep.
And then Steve came along. And same with Steve. It's not like, okay, we need another Steve. We want someone that's just good with me. And Ben came along. How hard is it, though, even if it's 9 months with Chris Eggert, to say goodbye to someone that you work so intimately with?
It's so hard. It's so hard. And I mean, Chris and I have like such a special bond just from that little time.
Yeah.
And everything like represents a different time in my life too. Like when John and I were on the show together, and John is the one who gave me my shot. John and I met in the parking lot and realized that we both went to Apple Valley High School and that we were both living with our parents because we'd both moved back to the cities for these jobs. And our parents lived on the streets next to each other.
Wow.
Like we had no friends because we'd been away for a while. So we started hanging out. We became really good friends. I still call him BFF to this day. And John was like, hey, I want her to fill in. And so then that was how it all kind of started for me. And that was our single time. And, I was just like happy hours every night. It was like all this fun stuff. And then Chris was kind of like just an evolution of things were sort of settling in. I went through, I had a miscarriage when I was right as Chris's time on the show was ending. So, he was like so amazing to be there for me for that because he had kids and, we could really... He's just like such an open-hearted person. And then, Steve and I kind of grew up together on the show, and we have like this brother-sister bond.
Yeah.
And then now Ben is just, he's a total difference from all the others, but brings like his own unique everything.
For sure.
He's a dream. He's the best.
You know what I would love, though?
What?
Is I would love some good sleep right now, thanks to Mattress Galaxy.
After you have a big snack, it would be nice to lie down for a bit
God.
in your Mattress Galaxy.
Sleep is so important. If you're not on the right mattress, that's going to make your sleep suck.
It's true. And how do you know you have the right one? Well, you need to go to Mattress Galaxy and you can say, hey, help me find the right one because I have this sleep problem, that sleep problem. They'll help you figure out which one's right for you. They have a very simple process. And my favorite thing is that they don't pressure you to buy when you go in there, which is really nice because then you can relax and figure out what you need and they'll help you figure out what will be good for you. And then when you're ready, you decide what you want to buy. Isn't that revolutionary?
Who would have thought?
Who would have thunk it? And they also have some really great financing too, so that you don't have to have the pressure of give me all your money now, which is really great. And they have 3 locations. They are in Hudson, Hastings, and in New Richmond. And they're very lovely people. And they are education-based, non-commissioned people. So you can go in there and feel comfortable. And they're actually very cool.
How tough
He's
is
dreamy.
it?
He is dreaming.
Or maybe it's not tough. How tough is it or is it not to be the constant? You are the constant. You're the one that probably every time you get that new co-host,
Yeah.
they're probably looking to you for a little bit of direction, even though they all have their own skill sets.
Yeah, they're it's good and it's fun. It's fun to have something different.
Little
you know?
reinvigorating.
Yeah, it is. It's fun to have something different. I'll tell you, this last time with Steve, I was like, oh man, here we go. Like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get through this.
Did you think about leaving when Steve
for
left?
sure.
You did?
After, yeah. Because I also broke my ankle in there, you guys. And I was like really on the struggle bus for a while. I just was thinking, I just don't know if I have the energy to build something with someone else. It's honestly like a breakup and then a new relationship.
Yeah.
When you like break off a relationship and then you're like, I don't even know if I have the energy to get to that point with someone else. That seems so exhausting. But just like in a new relationship, when you find like the right person that you have chemistry with, that you're like excited to spend time with and get to know, it just goes like that. It's fast and you can get into a groove.
There's a little rumor. I don't know if you know this rumor, but you guys didn't know Ben Lieber was really, really interested in this job.
No.
Like he filled in and he did the stuff, but you didn't know like he really wanted it.
He was super interested and he didn't think that we were interested in him. Yeah. And then,
That's how many relationships have. Well, I didn't think you liked me. Well, I didn't think you liked me.
I know.
I didn't think you.
Do you like us? Circle one yesterday.
Yeah.
But we went to coffee. I asked Ben to go to coffee after he'd filled in and he kept popping into my mind. And I've known him for over 10 years because he's filled in on the show for that long. And over that time, he is so progressed as a broadcaster and he's just like so comfortable with himself and able to like deliver a story and share opinions. And, he's done lots of radio work and then work for the Vikings and all of his sports broadcasting. And after he filled in a couple times after Steve had left, he just kept popping into my mind. And I was like, you know what, I'm just going to shoot him a text. And I was like, hey, can we go have coffee? And we went for coffee and I just like laid it out and said, hey, would this ever be something you were interested in?
Yeah.
And he said the last time he'd filled in, his wife was like, you were so good at this. You need to text her and see if she would want to talk to you about the job. And Ben was like, no, we're friends. I don't want to put something on her and make it blah, blah, blah. And she was like, no, she's looking for a co-host. And I'm like, you should have listened to Abby, but how it all kind of worked out. And it was just another reminder and confirmation to me that, following my gut is always the right thing. If something keeps popping into my mind of like, I should call him, I should check with him, I should see, anytime that happens, like I should do this, I have to follow that. It's been like the greatest things in my life have come when I just follow the still small voice, as my podcast host Marjorie Punnett calls it.
What is Ben's coffee order? Do you remember? Is he like straight black or is it very frou-frou?
He'll do anything, but he likes great coffee. Like he likes good quality coffee.
I smell TCL coffee brand after their liquor goes.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Figures you guys do liquor first.
That's really good. Oh my gosh. Now I'm like, hey, a TCL blend.
Yes,
Hutch.
right.
I like this idea.
Last question I have for you, then we get to play a game.
Oh, good. How long does this podcast go? I'll stay all day. I like it here. I like you guys. You're so fun.
Paul Folger can do it on his own. He's fine. So a lot of people will ask, because people know that we're coworkers. We work together and we interact here and there. And they're like, so is Elizabeth and Steve or Ben or whoever, are they as nice in person as they are on TV?
What's your answer? What do you say?
Well, I said before I met her, she's the worst. No. Before we started doing any TV or anything together, we're running like in the halls. We're always just running. You're going to TV or radio, and then I'm running to radio, and which is quick high, or whatever. But I always say she's more amazing because I remember when I went through my divorce, some reason I was talking to Kelly in your offices, and I was sitting at your desk.
Yeah,
and I was talking to Kelly, and then you came in, and I don't want to cry,
aww,
but just the things that you guys said were just so uplifting and kind, and so it meant a lot.
Oh, Hutch.
So yes, you are just as nice in person. And so I just, a lot of people, because you know how it is, a lot of listeners are just rude and mean.
For sure.
And it just happened. And I was just like, man, Stacy's the one that cries on this show. God, you're Oprah.
This is a free therapy session, just so you know.
I don't think that people understand it is different in this building. And that's not to speak disparagingly of other companies. I've worked for plenty of great companies, but people in this building genuinely care about their coworkers.
Oh, for sure.
They genuinely come to work every day with a positive attitude.
Yeah.
Even if something is going on negative in their life, they do a pretty good job of compartmentalizing it as much
or
as
opening up
possible.
and talking about
Correct.
it.
Yeah.
And that's
Contextualize
yeah.
it. Like, I don't even think you're forced to squash things down here. It's not like, hey, figure it out and just perform. I do really believe that comes from, at its core, this is a family-owned company.
Correct.
And so it is that, even though that's never talked about, no one in the bosses is like, you have to be like family, it's just like, you sit at Thanksgiving together. It's just, it's implied, and it's just part of the culture here.
Right.
And so for good or bad, sometimes families
Yes.
can be a little dysfunctional, but I think that's a really important point, that you don't have to compartmentalize it. You can be who you are, and your family and your life is prioritized.
This building does a wonderful job, just like the conversation that Hutch was just alluding to. I have a couple people in this building where I can walk into their door, close it, and we talk about work and family and personal stuff, and they'll do the same for me.
The problem is when it gets close to 10 minutes before airtime, we're all like, okay, we love
gotta
you,
go.
but we got to go, And so
Wrap it up.
Yeah, no,
I
but I
love
think
that, Hutch. I'm so glad that interaction meant something to you, and I hope you just that authenticity and just being a genuine person that's what we feel from you. We love you.
I know. I just it's crazy because it makes me think, how many times have we interacted with people and we don't know that we've said something to them that helped them or that and so we always have to remind ourselves in that moment that we affect people's lives,
which does kind of bring you full circle though to how you can react to people and their opinions about you or what they choose to share with you. It really, like 99% of the time, it has so much more to do with them than it has to do with you. It has everything to do with them and not to do with you. And so the more that I've sort of embraced that too and gone, gosh, if taking time out of your day to send me a nasty gram or to be mad about that, if that's like, there's one woman who is perpetually, she's like calling my bosses because she's mad that she thinks I look off camera too much.
Does she know that you're like really friendly with
I don't know. I like talk to people off camera because this is what we do. We have like people in the studio, whatever.
It's like talking to the producers on radio.
Yes. Yeah. She's like very upset about it and she can't let it go and she's just like raging about it. But I think, I think, I don't know, her name's Judy or something, but I'm like, if whatever is going on with you, like that this is what's consuming your life. I have such empathy and like I want to just give you grace because I feel so sad that that's what you're experiencing.
You need to figure that out.
Yeah, because I don't, listen, I'm 41 years old. I'm a mother of 3. My kids are growing up so fast. Like, I don't know what happened, but in the last 7 years, like I've been a mother for over 7 years and it's like shocking how fast it's going. I want to soak up every minute of the good, Like, I don't even have time to dwell on the bad.
Very quickly, Hutch, you mentioned that one interaction. You never know how much of a difference it can make. And you talked about that you were just tickled pink, I guess, that it made a difference for Hutch. Andrew Whitworth won the NFL Walter Payton Man of the Year award this past year. And when he was giving his speech about winning, and he talked about, he's going to be a Hall of Fame player. He talked about years prior, like 10, 15 years prior, he was working at a camp when he played for, at the time, the Cincinnati Bengals. And it was a camp of like junior high kids or older elementary kids. Well, in his last season, in a preseason game, they played another team, and I forgot who it was. But after the game, a rookie player comes up to him and just says, "Hey, I just want to thank you. Something you told me at that camp 14 years ago has always stuck with me."
Yeah.
And just think about that. It was literally something that he said that he probably, you alluded to this earlier, might not even remember that he had the conversation, but it made a difference in somebody's life. And for all we know, it's the reason that rookie, part of the reason that he was able to make it all the way to the NFL.
Isn't that amazing?
Really, really powerful stuff there. So
it's one person may remember one thing and another person may remember another, but at some point, if you affected someone's life and make a change for the good at some point, then
I don't remember anything that Hutch tells me. That's why he's always yelling at
good
me.
advice. I never say anything positive for the most part.
So as we get ready to play this game, Hutch,
Yes.
Elizabeth needs to know he's dirty. He tries to cheat all the time. He is always coming to my workspace.
Hutch.
Where are the questions? Where are the questions?
I don't even know what the game is. You guys haven't even told me what the game is or what the rule is.
Okay, you ready to play it?
Yeah, do you want me to hit the open or do you got it?
You got it.
Little
I don't-
on-air
I don't have
production
it.
meeting? All right.
Do it.
All right. It is time for Pass or Play. Staci usually sings a song, but I am not doing that
I was
today.
just going to say pass or
No
play.
song.
It's a catchy
Pass or
tune.
play.
I like it.
We're going to play pass or play.
This is how it works. There's categories, like Jeopardy. We've got 5 categories.
Okay.
You pick the category you want to answer a question to.
Okay.
Now, you can either answer the question or you can pass it to me.
Ooh, after I know what the question
Correct.
is. Got it?
But here's the deal. If you get the question wrong, I get a point. If you get the question right, you get the point. If you pass it to me, I can get it right and get the point. But if I get it wrong, you get the point.
Oh, this is fun. There's
There's a little strategery. Like, if you think I don't know the answer, you probably just want to pass it to me.
I'm going to look in your eyes.
Well, listen, I'm a good bluffer.
Is there a little bit of confusion?
I'm horrible
I'll
at this.
sense it.
Yeah. You're
So-
a good poker player.
I am so worried about the integrity of pass or play and Hutch's propensity to try and cheat. I have a second piece of paper that has nothing on it just to block so he can't see through.
This is good,
We
Ross.
will let Elizabeth pick the first category. What are the categories, Ross?
The categories today are Say It's Your Birthday.
Ooh.
How old are you, kitty?
What?
Lieber 2000.
Uh-oh.
Dang, Hutch is expensive. The plane. Those are your 5 categories today.
Okay. I get to pick.
You get to pick.
You get to pick.
Let's pick the Lieber one.
Oh, God. If
Let's
you get
go
this
with
wrong,
that.
you
I know.
get
I
this wrong.
probably will.
At
I
least
haven't,
he's not able to listen right
I haven't
now.
read his Wikipedia lately, so I don't know. I'll have to look.
On his Wikipedia, probably says he's died. You know, like, every Wikipedia is wrong, and, you know.
I know.
Well, Elizabeth, we have something to tell you. Ben Lieber is outside this. No, I'm just
He
joking.
came back from the Bahamas just for this show.
In the year 2000,
Oh, jeez.
what team did your Twin Cities Live co-host Ben Lieber play for? Was it A, San Diego,
Santiago.
B, Kansas State, C, the Minnesota Vikings,
Ooh.
or D, the St. Louis Rams?
Okay. Do I get to talk through this? Or I'm
You
going
can
to play.
talk through it, yeah.
I'm going to play.
You can
I'm going to
You can talk
answer
through it.
this.
You
Yeah.
just have to tell me
I just have to-
essentially when you're locking in the
All right, I
answer.
got to talk through it because it was in the year 2000, and I know Ben is 43, so he's a couple years older than me, and he went to Kansas State, so I know that. So I just have to think, was he at Kansas State at that time? I think I'm going to go K-State, and then he played for the Chargers after that. But
Such a mathematical
I'm going to go
answer.
K-State.
Wow, she really thought this one through.
I did.
And?
good for you because you are correct.
Oh, where did he
Feels
go after
good.
Kansas?
Then I think he went to the Chargers and then to the Vikings. Did he ever play for the Rams?
He did. He finished with the Rams.
Sorry,
Oh,
Ben.
he did?
He did, yeah.
Oh, yes, I do know that because then once they were finished in St. Louis,
He came back here and did that.
they were deciding if they were going to move back to Minnesota or to San Diego and where they were going to raise their family. And sometimes I'm still baffled that he chose Minnesota. But listen, my best friend lives
Have you
in San
been to
Diego.
Missouri?
No, Missouri I would be happy to leave. San Diego is pretty lovely.
I once worked with a gentleman who left San Diego because he said it's the same thing every day.
That is absolutely true.
Oh, San Diego's beautiful.
My best friend lives in San Diego, and I feel that every time I go, I love visiting. But
She has to be married to Elon Musk. It's so expensive to live there.
but I would
it's so
say that's the
crazy.
point. It's the same thing every day.
Yeah.
It's 72 and
It's
sunny.
so
Sign me
beautiful.
up.
it's too much traffic in California too. I can't take it.
I think I'm going to pick Hello Kitty.
You're
Or
going to go
whatever.
with Hello Kitty.
Sure.
Let me
And
go
I hate
with
cats.
What was that? I was actually. How old are you,
Yeah,
Kitty?
How old are you, Kitty? I'll do
Yeah,
that one.
you don't even know the categories. That's unbelievable. How are you expecting to win this game?
Because I'm doing it to make you think I don't know how to play this game. So you can pass it to me.
Per something called Dutch.com, when your house cat turns 8 years old, how old is it in human years? Is your house cat A, 70? Is it B, 57? Or is it D, 48?
Well, I know dog ears are 7, but I don't know if cat ears are
Pass or
different.
play?
I know you have a dog, but do you have a cat? I don't know if you have a cat.
Meow, meow.
I brought my cat with me.
I have a kitty and I love it.
So weird. You have a backpack with your cat.
I would love that.
You know what? I'm going to... That's a multiple choice, though. I'm going to pass.
So this means you have to answer it correctly for the point,
Yeah.
Elizabeth.
Yep.
If you get it wrong, Hutch gets the point.
Tell me the numbers again, because I know the cat is 7 years.
8 years.
Oh, the cat turned 8, and then what are the options of the human years?
A, 70, B, 57,
Okay.
or C, 48.
I'm gonna go 48. I'm gonna go C.
You're going to go with 48?
Yeah,
She always picks C because you always pick
because
C.
cats live a long time though.
Yeah, that's true.
So that's why I was-
God, you're good at this game.
Meow.
And that's correct.
Oh, come on! You're so good at this
I'm
game.
on fire. I like it.
Oh my God, this is awful. Stacy's gonna love you for winning.
It's a little random if you look at this chart that I have here that I won't show you, but maybe I'll show you
Is
after.
it like Celsius to Fahrenheit conversion? So
it's-
confusing.
It's not perfect. So what I mean by that is after 1 year, they're apparently 15 in human years, okay?
Yes.
After 2, they're 24.
See,
Oh,
yeah,
it
it is like
declines.
Celsius.
Right. But then after 3 years, I'm utterly baffled by this. For like 3 or 4 years, they only age 4 years per year.
Unbelievable.
And then as they get older, it starts to change.
Do you have a cat?
No, but I grew up with two. One
Chickens,
in
cats, same
particular.
thing.
Yeah, they're the same. But my cat, Spicy Ries, may he rest in peace,
Spicy
lived
Ries.
to be 18 years old, and he was like the joy of my life. True story. 2 times in high school when my parents moved from Apple Valley to Burnsville, I went with them because I lived there. He walked back to our old house 2 times. And we got a message on our answering machine from the new owners. Spicy's here. The garage code is the same. Can you come and get him? And I had to go after school, go back.
Oh my
I had to
God.
drive over
Garage
there.
code's the same.
And get the garage. Isn't that so Minnesota?
I know, right,
We
yeah.
bought your house, but the garage
We're gonna
code's
keep it
the
the
same.
Hilarious to me how much cats do not like change. That cat would rather go back to a house that you guys aren't in
Yeah.
than go back to the one you're
Then go to the
currently
new one. We had a good talk on the drive
that's
home, and then
funny.
it never happened
It
again.
never happened again.
Spicy
No.
Ries, may he rest in peace.
What categories do you have left, Ross?
We have Say It's Your Birthday. Let's flip this page below the computer monitor. Dang, Hutch is expensive.
Okay.
And the plane.
Now, if you get this, you sweep and you win. So
I'm going to go dang Hutch is
Of
expensive.
course.
Dang, Hutch is
Just
expensive.
because I like that. I like the name of it.
Right now on Amazon.com, the most take 2. Right now on Amazon.com, the most expensive Hutch listed
Oof, good.
retails for A, 7,691 American dollars.
Okay.
B, 6,971 American dollars. Or C, 9,671 American dollars. I really butchered that question, so
That's
I will
okay.
read it and give it to you one
We're
more
good.
time.
I
You're
think
good?
we
Yeah.
got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Although I will tell you, I don't know if you know this, I was on The Price is Right. So you make your own decision there. And I got on.
The most expensive Hutch.
I'm very lucky.
I nailed the bid too.
I know a guy who was on The Price is Right. I also know a gentleman who won Wheel of Fortune 3 times that I worked
way.
with.
Wow.
Oh, you just never have done any of it.
That's
No, not at all.
That's too bad.
7,000, 6,000, 9,000.
Okay, most expensive Hutch. I'm gonna go with the one that's the second highest. So like the 7,000 one.
Are you
7,691.
7,691?
Yeah, whatever one started with the 7.
Whatever one start with a 7 is what
That's
you're
my
going
final-
with.
Yeah, and I don't know. I think this is probably not a good move. But I'm
Hutch,
going-
do you care to guess? Do you think she's right, or would there be one that you would have went with?
I would have gone 7,000, but what is it?
You're right. Elizabeth is right.
Ah,
She has swept
sweet.
past her blade.
Unbelievable. This is incredible.
I give up.
This has never happened to me in my life.
You haven't. And you've
Hutch-
played a lot of radio games.
Hutch
For
started
sure.
out dominating this game. He was up like 5 or 6 games to nothing,
done.
and now it's 7-6.
This is a fun game.
It's 7-6.
Wait
like
till
it.
you hear what we have next. It's time for Snack Chat.
And we don't have music, so
get
I'm
it.
going to sing. It's time
Guess what?
for
We gotta
snack
try to make
chat.
some ice cream.
Snack
Shut
chat.
Up, seriously?
Yes.
How soupy is
my
that ice cream?
God.
I know I had it in an HR freezer.
He
Look
brought
at
that
these.
in like 45 minutes ago.
This is incredible. Oh, yes.
Okay, so these are brand new from Little Debbie. I'll give you a spoon.
Nutty bars
You can
is
dive
like my
into it.
favorite thing.
that
Oh my gosh, I still buy them, by the way.
Thank you.
Okay, so by the way, if you don't like something you eat on TV,
Yeah. Well, we only bring cooks who know how to cook on
Right.
the show. And then if I eat other stuff, I just
let's
say
say
I
you don't like
it.
seafood, they're not going to make you seafood, right?
Yeah, or yes, or they would, and I would just be like people make things with water chestnuts, and I just say I don't like water chestnuts.
Oh, okay.
I'll try it, and
Yeah.
I'll be like, this would be great
Without
without the
water
water
chestnuts.
chestnuts. This is really interesting, you guys. Talk about like the universe. So I found a receipt on my counter yesterday that had zebra cakes as a purchase, nutty bars as a purchase, and a Little Debbie Swiss roll as a
Really?
purchase. And I texted my husband because he had stopped at the store for me. And there were 2 receipts, one for the eggs I needed, and then the one with all these other things. And so I texted him, where are the zebra cakes? And I haven't mentioned zebra cakes in probably 20 years.
Really?
And then he said, what are you talking about? I sent him a picture of the receipt that was on the counter. And he goes, oh, there was a guy in front of me at the store and he was checking out and he had insufficient funds on his card. So I bought his groceries for him. And it was like $35. And Jay bought the groceries for him. And
your
I was
family's
like,
the worst.
I was like, Jay, I said, and he didn't even tell me about it. And I said, oh, wow, that was so nice of you. And I said, so you're saying there's no zebra cakes?
At least you could have brought the
And
zebra
now
cakes.
you've
We
got
zebra
nutty
cakes.
bars and zebra cakes. Like, this is the universe, you
This
guys.
is-
It's
this
wild.
is.
I love this story because I tried being that nice guy one day, because this has happened to me. You go through a drive-through, and they're like, oh, the person in front of you paid for the meal. So, like, a week later, I was somewhere. I was literally buying, like, my $1 cup of coffee from McDonald's, and I'm like, I'll get the car behind me.
Was it like a massive van?
They're like, they're actually picking up for a softball team. It's like $112.
Oh my God, that would have been.
I'll get the car that's behind them.
All right, we'll let you try these first. So first off, you've got nutter butter.
It's the nutty bars. That's
right.
those delicious little
might
nutty
be a
bars.
little foggy,
It's
so-
not. It's nice.
Okay.
It's like a nice level of melt.
I
It's,
love the Star Crunch. So you got an honest opinion. What you think of it?
I think the Star Crunch is the worst.
Where did you
because
find these?
The Star Crunch has no flavor.
Walmart.
When you actually get the Star Crunch. Oh, fun.
Star Crunch is good.
Okay.
I think it's that
You don't
nutty
think so?
bar one
Nutty
that
Buddy?
I want
I
to
love
try.
it.
Oh, you do? Is this deadly?
This is fabulous.
Okay.
This is wonderful.
You can grab the.
It's not even making it over here. She's
Oh my
not.
gosh.
not yet.
I'm not. So good try, guys. You're not trying this one. Oh my gosh, that's heavenly. So good. All right, what do you got there?
That's zebra cake.
Okay.
So this is what nutter butter looks like.
This is very fun.
Also,
God, that nutter butter.
I hate to correct you on your show, but I believe there is a difference between
Oh yeah,
nutter butter and a
nutty
bar.
And a nutty bar.
Oh, is there?
A nutter butter is
like
a cookie that's
wafer.
shaped like a peanut.
You're right.
Okay, the zebra cakes is really good. Not as flavorful as the nutty one.
You might like the Star Crunch. You might like it.
I think the actual Star Crunch itself is kind of useless, but I'm looking forward to trying this.
Okay. Isn't that one good?
Oh my goodness!
What do you think? It doesn't taste like a Star Crunch though, because like.
It tastes better than
I
the
need
Star
to go.
Crunch.
I need to go buy that.
Well,
Oh, this is good.
we'll put the.
This is good. I know, you guys. I'm dripping all
okay,
over.
here.
Sushree is going to kill us.
So he already peeked in here and he's like, "What is going on in there?"
We'll put
That's-
these on. You try them later, Ross.
Should we just leave ice cream here for them? Oh, by the way, we left
There's a
ice cream on the
Guys,
counter.
I'm here for this. I got to tell you, this is really amazing that this happened today. That
Yeah.
you brought the zebra cakes.
Well, listen, we want to press you all the time every
this
time
is
you visit.
the karma for Jay paying for that guy's zebra cakes.
Well, of course, we want you to watch Twin Cities Live weekdays starting at 3. And you've got your podcast with Marjorie, who, by the way, real quickly before we go, she was on the radio with you.
She was. We did a radio show on My Talk 107.1 together for almost 2 years. And then I was, like a helper, a mainstay helper on the Ian and Marjorie show on My Talk 107.1 for many years before that. So Marjorie and I have a podcast. It's called Best to the Nest. And we talk a lot about, being your best self at home and making your home the place where you feel the happiest. And it's like your sanctuary and you're healthy. And then you can go out into the world and achieve everything you want to achieve.
It's really good. I listened to it.
Love it.
Yeah, so there you go. Well, thanks for
You guys,
coming
I've
in.
loved my time here. Thank you so much for inviting me.
We give you snacks,
It
and-
was. I won a game.
yeah.
I got snacks,
You got the-
and Hutch teared up. This is
oh,
like
God.
amazing.
Listen, that doesn't leave this room.
We don't pay in cash. We don't pay in appearance fees. We pay in ice cream and treats.
There
You
you
don't
go.
need money when you have ice cream.
No, you don't.
Thanks for coming in, Elizabeth. We appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
And of course, thanks to Mattress Galaxy for bringing you Staci Hutch Say Too Much. Check out our Instagrams, KS95 vids to watch the podcast as well. See you guys next week.